What's up, Foundation? What's up, YouTube? It's me, Toon, the Village Storyteller. Man, and y'all know I'm back again with another one, man. With another one. You know what I'm saying? You know this is the Village Storyteller channel where I tell my stories. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get you through your workday, get you through your relaxing period, get you through your lunch hour, get you through whatever you may be going through at the current moment. And these stories will take you out of your mind. If your mind is not in a good place, and it will put you in a good place, homie. So just sit back, relax, put on your headgear, get ready for a trip through this atmosphere. I don't need a spaceship or a microphone. Anyway, so you know how I usually would give it to you from the beginning and give you a synopsis. I'm not going to do that, man. Y'all too smart. Y'all too smart. I'm not going to give it to you like that. I'm going to tell the story as if you were reading a book or if you're hearing it for the first time, and you're going to be shocked in awe and amazed at how things turn out. You know what I'm saying? From here on out. Not on just story, but just on all of them. 1, 2, 3. It was 12 o'clock. Late. Dark. For some reason, this night right here was darker than most nights. Sheila knew that she was not supposed to be out this late at night. But Sheila had a bad smoking habit. Sheila had to go to the store and get her some cigarettes because she was nicking. So Sheila jumped up at 12 o'clock, raining, threw her coat on, threw her shoes on, and proceeded to walk to the store. Sheila got her cigarettes and was coming back. As she was coming back, as she was getting ready to cross the street to make it back on her side of the street to where her house was, the only thing she felt was a strong arm go around her neck and another arm and a hand come over her mouth and lock her in. Sheila screamed. She tried to scream. She tried to kick. Sheila tried to do any and everything she could to get loose from her assailant. She knew it had to have been a man, a large man, because of the way he loomed over her when he grabbed her. Sheila was drugged to a van, threw in the van. When she was thrown in the van, another guy grabbed her and put a chloroform-filled rag over her face. So when she breathed in to try to scream, she breathed in the chloroform. It knocked her out. When Sheila woke up again, Sheila was in a dark room. She didn't know where she was. She didn't know who were her abductors. She didn't know none of that. But she knows she was scared and she wanted out. She felt her hands along the walls to try to figure out where she was. When she felt the doorknob, she started beating on what she considered was the door. After about 3-4 minutes of beating, a slot slid open. Vroom. And through the slot, she seen a man's face with some horn-rimmed glasses on. And she started hollering, where am I? Where am I? Let me out. Let me out. Let me out. And the dude just slid it back. Clunk. Within 2 or 3 minutes, the lights came on in the room. And she seen that she was in a room and had a bed, had a sink, had a toilet. And that was pretty much it. It was a Spartan room. The door opened up and 3 men came in with house coats. When they came in, they told her to have a seat. She started screaming, let me out. Where am I? Who am I? Who are you guys? Let me go. Let me in. Boom, boom, boom. And they told her, look, we're only going to tell you one more time. Stop screaming. Stop being hysterical. Anything further after this will result in pain. She didn't believe it. She didn't believe it. Sheila started screaming again, let me out. One of the dudes in the white hospital, in the white doctor's coat, he came up with a small rod, about 12 inches long, and he touched her with it, and it sent a shock through her body that she had never felt before. She hit the floor. And he looked at her and he told her, any outburst from this point on will result in pain. She got up, she sat on the bed, and they took her blood pressure, and they start talking to her. They semi-explained some things to her, that she was in an undisclosed site, and that from this point on, she would do as she was told and not ask questions, or it would result in pain. Of course, several times after that, it had to resort in pain because she was scared. She didn't know where she was. She didn't know what was going on. She didn't know. Her mother, her father. She knew they was wondering where she was. At the time she was living by herself. She was only 21. They didn't care nothing about that. So when you put in a predicament like that, and the routines becomes the same. After about 2 weeks, they fed her good. They started letting her out to get exercise. And they took her to a room that was set up like a hospital room. And they told her that she would have kids. And she was like, I'm not pregnant, I don't have any kids. They said, but they're going to artificially inseminate her, and that she would have a child. So she didn't want to do that. She screamed, she hollered, pain. Sheila accepted it. So, they started taking her vitals. They started giving her vitamins. They started keeping up with her health. You know what I'm saying? Feeding her certain types of foods that made her stay strong and healthy. And they inseminated her. And after about a week, they came and told her that she was pregnant and that she'd be having a child. She was mad about it. There's nothing she could do about it. She figured she was just going to, lay back and roll with the punches and try to figure out where this was going to go. She was scared that they was going to kill her. She didn't know who these people were. She didn't know where she was. She didn't know what was going on. And now here it is. They have artificially inseminated her with a child. As the days went on, they turned into weeks. The weeks turned into months. And eventually, the months turned into 9 months. By this time, her stomach was very, very large. They would always run tests on her. They would always try to make sure that she was healthy. During her second trimester, and a trimester is the fourth, the fifth, and the 6th month of her pregnancy, they started hooking her up to an IV, and in the IV it had a viscous green drip in it, and she would always wonder, "What is this you putting in me? What is this you putting in me?" And they would tell her, "Stop asking questions." And she went through her whole second trimester with getting this liquid pumped into her veins while she was pregnant. It didn't cause her any pain. She didn't know what was going on. She got to the point she figured, look, just let me have this baby, and maybe they'll let me go. She eventually came to the time when it was time for her to have her child. Her water broke. When her water broke, they were Johnny on the spot. They brought her in. They brought her into the operating room that they always had set up, and they put her to sleep. When she woke up, it was hours and hours later. She could tell her stomach had went down some. She felt the pain between her legs. She knew she had delivered her child. And so she asked the people, "Where's my child? Where's my child? Where's my child?" And they told her, "Don't worry about that. It's not your child." And she would always say, "Can I go? Are you going to kill me? Can I go? Or are you going to kill me?" And they told her, they said, "No, we're going to let you go. We're going to let you go." And one day she went to sleep, and when she woke up, she was in her living room of her house. Her mother and her father took over the payments, and they kept the house up. They were scared. They didn't know where their daughter was. It was all type of Amber Alerts. It was all type of bulletins put up. It was all of that. But it was to the point now where they figured their daughter was dead. It was a lost cause. She was never coming back. But they kept the house. When she woke up, she was at that house. The phone worked and all that. Her first thing she did was she called her mother. And her mother was glad to see her. Her mother went into all type of hysterics. We on our way. We on our way. We on our way. When the mother and the father got there, she tried her best to explain to them what it was, and so the father, who was an ex-cop, he wanted to know where it was, this and that. She didn't know. She didn't have any information to give him, none whatsoever. Time went on. You know they have a saying: time heals all wounds. Time heals all wounds. As time went on and the days turned into weeks, the weeks turned into months, and the months turned into years. To the point to where 20 years had passed by. She had forgot about the incident. She'd never seen nobody again that looked like they could possibly be anything to her that had anything to do with this situation. She had pretty much chalked it up. She had pretty much put it on the back burner. And my little dog back there cutting up. If you don't sit down, every time I go to talking, that's when you want to cut up? Sit down. You're not getting out. Be quiet. No. Little dog so pretty, man. But anyway, one day at the age of 20, one day at the age she was 41 years old, 20 years had passed by. She was at work. She worked at a coffee shop. And a young man walked in. She felt some type of way, like she was connected to this young man, but didn't know how. She didn't know how. He didn't know her. She didn't know him. As he walked into the coffee shop, he was going to order some coffee, and a fight had broke out in the back between two dudes. They ended up getting the fight out the way. Sheila was kind of worried, kind of scared, but they calmed the situation down. Boom. So now for a week straight, this same young man came in. Same young man kept coming into the coffee shop. He started building a friendship with Sheila. You know what I'm saying? He asked Sheila where she was from. She told him here. Sheila asked him where was he from. And he told her he was from Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? And she had told him one day, she said, you know what? Many years ago, I had a child. She said if he was still around, or if he or she was around, they would be around your age. So he asked her, well, what happened to the child? She said it's a long story. She don't really want to go into it, but the child's no longer here. Okay, well, cool. One day on the news, Sheila was sitting there watching the news, and she seen where a dude had committed mass murder in Chicago. Went crazy with a gun. Had gunned down people. And got away. The police had tried to get up on him, and they couldn't do nothing with him. Hand-to-hand combat, they couldn't do nothing with him. He had killed these people and ran off. It was big news all over the place. Big news all over the place, man. And when she was watching it on the news, she recognized the assailant. And she told her mother, she said, Mama, that's the guy that comes into the coffee shop every day. And her mother like, are you sure? She said, yes, that's the guy that comes into the coffee shop every day. So her mother was kind of worried. Sheila went to work the next day. And the next day, the guy came in. She immediately got scared. She was immediately nervous. And he wondered what was wrong with her. Why are you acting this way with her? She said, you were on the news last night. He's like, huh? What happened? She said, you gunned down about 8 or 9 people for no reason. He said, no, it couldn't have been me. I've been nowhere near Chicago. Been right here. She was a little worried. He tried to explain to her that he hadn't went nowhere, that he hadn't had nothing to do with it, but she was backing up. And he was trying to tell her because he was friends with her now. No, it wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. I had nothing to do with that. Blah, blah, blah. She hit the alarm. And he got spooked. He knew it was alarm. The police are coming. Why would you do this? I told you I hadn't had anything to do with nothing. But he took off running. He took off running. He took off running. So when the police came, she told him that the guy that she seen in the news that did this and this comes into her coffee shop every day. Every day. So they were on the hunt. They were on the lookout. But he didn't come into the coffee shop no more. One night, about a week later, he didn't come in no more after that. But one night, about a week later, the phone rung. And it was him. And he told her, please, don't be afraid. I need to talk with you. She was like, for what? You're a mass murderer. Because not only had he been doing what he had been doing, the guy that did the murders in Chicago, this guy had been going on a spree. And he had been going from state to state, city to city, doing this. It was a massive manhunt. Massive manhunt for this dude. He was just going crazy out of nowhere. And so the guy that had called her that night, he told her, look, that's not me. I promise you it's not me. She didn't believe it. She said, why are you calling me? And he told her, he said, look, I was given word, I don't know how true it is, that you're my mother. So she flipped out. She like, what do you mean your mother? I would never, no. And he told her, he said, look, I was told that you're my mother, and I found you, and I wanted to connect with you. I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know how this is gonna go. She was like, I don't want anything to do with you. You're a mass murderer. And he was like, no, it's not me. I haven't done anything. She said, I seen you on the news. I seen you on the news. He kept trying to tell her, it's not me. It's not me. These murders that were taking place were coming closer and closer. And she tried to inform the police that the guy had got in contact with her. The guy had been trying to reach out to her. And that if they needed her, she would set him up so that they can get her. It wasn't going to work. He was way smarter than that. Way smarter than that. It wasn't going to work. She couldn't believe that in this small rural place, they were in Omaha, Nebraska. And she couldn't believe that in Omaha, Nebraska, that this was going on in her life. They had been talking on the news about this guy that was going on this crime spree. They had his picture up and all that. That the guy that had been going on a crime spree was making his way toward Omaha, Nebraska. They had all type of checkpoints and all type of stuff set up. But the police couldn't do nothing with this dude. They couldn't stop him. They couldn't whoop him. They couldn't do anything. The time came where they put out an alert. The schools up their security. A lot of stuff was going on because this dude was going crazy, shooting any place and anyone. He was here in Omaha, Nebraska. They had no knowledge of why he was coming this way. It had to be something in Omaha, Nebraska he was trying to get to. Little did they know what he was trying to get to was in Omaha, Nebraska. So they didn't know where he was, but they figured he had made it to Omaha, Nebraska. The guy had been calling Sheila and trying to tell her, look, I need to see you. It's imperative that I see you. She was like, I don't want anything to do with you. You're a monster. Turn yourself in. I don't know why these people think that you were someplace else when you've been right here all this time? Excuse me, I don't know why these people think that you are someplace else when you've been right here all this time. How are you hurting these people and coming back here? You're a lunatic. You mean to tell me you leave just to hurt people and come back here? And he kept trying to tell her, look, it's not me. I haven't done anything. It's not me. That's why I need to talk with you. I need to find out if you are who I think you are. Are you my mother? Coming to a head, y'all. It's coming to a head. Sheila went to work about 2 days later. While Sheila was at work, it was a loud crash outside in the streets. Boom, bang. A truck had ran into a donut shop across the street. And from in the truck, a guy jumped out the truck. He was fully suited down. Had the heat, all that. He had the heat and all that. He started shooting. People were running, hollering, screaming. And he looked across the street and he looked straight at the coffee shop where Sheila worked. And he started making his way there. Soon as he kicked the front door open, boom, he looked at Sheila face to face and he came up with the heat. Soon as he came up with the heat, the guy that had been trying to talk to Sheila and get in contact with Sheila, he came out the back and he started gunning. Boom, 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 boom. The dude went to dodging, ducking, flipping, flapping. Bullets couldn't hit him. You know what I'm saying? Rolling on the ground, he started returning fire. Now, the guy that had been trying to talk to Sheila, when the other guy returned fire on him, this dude went into some Matrix type stuff. And Sheila was dug down low behind the counter. The people were on the ground. They tripping off what they see and they tripping off what they witnessing here. They like, what's going on? What is this? The two dudes ran at each other. Boom. And they start fighting. They start fighting in a way that nobody had never never seen, couldn't understand. The level of martial arts that these dudes were exhibiting, nobody else on the planet could have exhibited this style and strength and speed of martial arts. They were jumping 15, 20 feet in the air, landing, kicking, chopping, you know what I'm saying, punching through walls, punching through tables, picking each other up, throwing each other. By this time, the fight had fell out into the streets. The first dude who came in shooting, he had on a full mask at this time. Sheila was scared because the guy that had came out the back, this is the guy that had been trying to talk to her this whole time. She was scared because in her mind, he was the bad guy. But she seen where this guy had saved her and was fighting this guy that had came out this truck shooting. During the fight, the mask that he had on got pulled off. And Sheila couldn't believe what she was seeing. They were identical. They were identical. They were identical and could not be told apart. They fought. The police started coming. When the police started coming, the police didn't know what to do. The police immediately come up out their cars to shoot. This dude was a mass murderer wanted in so many different states. I'm going to end it right there, y'all. That's part 1. Part 2 will be within a day or two. It's me, y'all, the village storyteller. I'm out. Peace.